I'm Tracy Norman, author, historian and project manager for the Folklore Library and Archive. In this episode of 5 Minute Folklore, I chat with Dr Matteo Borrini about a subject which has fascinated me for as long as I can remember: vampires. Dr Matteo Borrini earned an MSc in biological anthropology in Florence and his PhD in anthropology at the University of Rome Tor Vergata. He worked on excavation of war graves and identification and repatriation of the war dead, which earned him an appointment as an honorary member of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. He has undertaken numerous forensic anthropology projects and appeared in TV documentaries, including presenting forensic information in a series of live weekly broadcasts on Italian TV. He served as contract professor at a number of Italian universities. Then, in 2013, joined Liverpool John Moores University, where he is currently a principal lecturer. His passion for his subject is matched only by his passion for magic. He is a talented magician and mentalist. He's the first foreign president of the Liverpool Mahatma Magic Circle, a club which was formed over a century ago, and is a member of the prestigious Magic Circle of London. It was through magic that I met Matteo, as he was giving a demonstration of Victorian spiritualism and mediumship techniques as part of the press event for the Dark Secrets Esoteric Exhibition back in October 2025. A number of Matteo's own artefacts were on display in the exhibition, as he's also a collector of unusual items, such as a vampire hunting kit and a mummified fairy, often using these items as a starting point to introduce his magic. Dr Matteo Borrini was the person who discovered the Vampire of Venice back in 2006. The Vampire of Venice, a 16th century woman, was unearthed in a mass grave and was discovered amongst medieval plague victims from a 1576 outbreak. What singled her out was that she had been interred with a brick lodged between her teeth, a technique used to prevent suspected vampires, or those believed to be at risk of becoming vampires, from chewing their shrouds, which was believed to be how people became vampires. Studies undertaken on the woman's remains indicated that her diet was primarily grains and vegetables, suggesting she was of a lower social class. Surprisingly, her teeth revealed an age of between 61 and 71 years old, which, although not unheard of, is, Dr Borrini says, an unusually advanced age for a 16th century woman. In 2024, images were released of a 3D facial reconstruction of the woman. This skeleton provides us with an invaluable, tangible link to the fears and beliefs of the past. I was lucky enough to catch up with Matteo after his demonstration at Dark Secrets and had a quick chat with him about the Venice vampire and the fascinating subject of deviant burials. So we're going to now spend a few minutes talking about something which I'm really interested in, and that is, well, two things I'm really interested in. One, vampires, and two, deviant burials. So Matteo, could you tell us a little bit about how you became involved in both of those things?
Absolutely. Well, as a forensic anthropologist, I am dealing with skeletons, sometimes as forensic word said, recent, other times also with ancient skeleton, where I try to apply forensic techniques, so modern science, into them to understand them better. And working on this, I found several deviant burials in my career, and I'm collaborating still now with groups like in Poland that are dealing with those kind of graves. The deviant burial is a burial that is representing something different from a traditional one. So they can belong to a specific person that in some way was an outsider of the community, or maybe they are the result of a rite that is made to honor or to, let's say, exorcise that specific individual. The main grave that I investigated that is also related to vampirism is the one that I discovered in 2006 in Venice, in the island of Lazzaretto Nuovo. That is the grave of the so-called vampire of Venice, or Carmilla as we friendly name her. In reality, this was an elderly woman that died in 1576 due to the pandemic of Black Death that was hitting Venice back then. And her body had been manipulated in a way because it was thought that she may be a Nakzer, so those kind of body that are resurrecting from the grave after they made people dying due to the pandemic, due to the plague. It's a sort of baby or larva of a vampire. And specifically that kind of exorcism that is described also in the book De Masticazione Mortorum Tumulus means removing the shroud that apparently the body was eating and substitute with something that cannot be eaten, like in that case a piece of brick. My role as a forensic anthropologist was also to understand why people started to believe in vampires, and that was the result of the fact that people back then didn't actually understood the taphonomic process, so it means the decomposition that nowadays, as forensic experts, we know.
Yeah, so things like fingernails appearing to have grown because skin was desiccating and shrinking away from them, the same with hair follicles, the same with gums and teeth.
Absolutely, or in that case the shroud. Why the shroud seems to be eaten? First of all, because the people dying due to a pandemic, they were not put in coffin, but wrapped in shroud. Yeah. Then the shroud was in direct contact with the soil that was pushing the shroud down, where inside the mouth, because when the rigor mortis is gone, the mouth is open. And in the mouth, there is more moisture, there are more bacteria, so the shroud starts to be decomposed there rather than in other parts of the body, giving the impression that the body is chewing the shroud.
Right, and that was believed to create other vampires, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Now, we needed to consider this. The people were scared by something that they didn't understand, a disease of unknown origin. And they were apparently hopeless. So, the ignorance and fear created the monsters, because basically it was a way to explain the inexplicable. Now we know that science can help us a lot and try to remove those kind of monsters from our mind and our world.
Now, I'm sure I remember reading something about the brick having been inserted later, which suggests that the plague pit had been opened and the body had been discovered to look like it was chewing its shroud, and thus they put in the apotropaic brick.
Exactly. So that is how happened, because in mass graves, usually you open and close the mass grave to put more and more body in, and this is when the body was found not completely decomposed. And that is when the exorcism, if you want to go like that, was actually done.
Did you actually find any associated stories of like vampire terror at the time that it would have been reopened? Or was it purely just the discovery of the body that was enough?
Well, if we read the reports that we have back then, the contemporary report, not in Venice but all around Europe, there was this fear, and there were cases in which the body were discovered like that, especially in cases of tuberculosis. That, don't forget, was the most common cause of death when plague was not around. It was killing more than 40% of people.
Oh wow!
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
I'm grateful to Dr. Matteo Borrini for taking the time to talk to me during what was an extremely busy day for him. You can find out more about Matteo and his work by visiting the Liverpool John Moores website, www.ljmu.ac.uk, and typing his name into the search box. If you'd like to find out more about the Folklore Library and Archive, you can check out our website, www.folklorelibrary.com, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube and Eventbrite, where you can also find out about our in-person and online fundraising events. Thanks for watching.